to see you this evening. I have some information that's a little different today. We've been we this is our third broadcast of the day. So we've been busy. We also lifted onto our second floor thanks to Lawrence. We managed to get a sliding glass door up on the second floor and install it into my new studio, which is really exciting. I'm really looking forward to having. I mean, this is really nice, but I think I'm hoping that my new studio will that I'll be able to manage the lighting because it lights on both sides, so you see a spectacular view, but there's also enough light, hopefully, that you'll be able to see behind you. See, in this view, interestingly enough, like a photograph of a photography store would tell me that in order for me to not for the camera not to focus on me and completely miss the background, I would have to flood my face with light, like internal light, and then the camera would see me and see the background. So I'm that's kind of what I'm aiming for in terms of my studio. I've been dreaming about this studio for many years, and it's getting closer to being actualized. You can do whatever you want. You can manifest. You just have to be into it. You just have to like throw yourself into what you want, and you may not be able to control the timing on it, but eventually the universe will come to your aid, in my opinion. Brian Best's Spiritual Bean Coffee, highly recommend it. Totally organic, hand roasted in very small batches, and the like. My fishing pal, hey Anton, we got to go flounder fishing in Alabama, man. I'll bet you got some pretty cool fish out there in the Gulf Stream. I would imagine some really bizarre fish. That's my guess. Flounder to me is kind of like old school New York City, New York area fishing, spring fishing. But in my heart of hearts, I am probably a songwriter first and a fisherman second. The songwriting was my first. Oh, I also wedged in some carpentry in between, and I delivered pizzas and I did other stuff. So I want to. It's season. Anytime, man. I'm ready. I'm ready. So I love fishing. I do love fishing, although I can no longer wrap my mind around it the way I used to. However, I learned a very, very important lesson from fishing. And I'm going to share that lesson briefly before I go into a larger issue. And the large issue that I want to tackle tonight is the idea flounder, redfish, speckled trout. Wow, speckled trout. You mean like brook trout in salt water? Must be. I think we would call that in New York sea trout, but I don't know what you call it. Redfish, I don't know about. So the story I want to tell is that after my car accident, I I couldn't come back. I had so many issues. I got into a car accident. I was high on who knows what. I was copping nasty drugs in Harlem at the time, and I almost died. When I sort of came to, I was not really able to function at all. I was terrified of making phone calls. I was terrified of talking on the phone. I just what had happened to me was that I grew such a big ego playing in rock bands and all this kind of thing, and it just sort of like popped at the car accident, and it just all this ego. stuff that I had wrapped around myself and all this power. And actually, maybe some of it is still, it's not really ego anymore. Now it's just like, I think maybe there was some kind of reason for it. I'm going to go into this. There was some kind of reason for me feeling different from other folks, and I'm going to go into that. I'm going to tell you, who are you really is the subject. But anyway, after I kind of recuperated, and it took me a long time. I really got hurt bad, and I got a piece of metal in my leg and all this. They put the doctors put metal in my leg. Eventually, I kind of weaned myself off of the hard drugs. I got away from the hard drugs, and I had to really quit music at that point. I said it's just going to kill me. So I decided to go fishing. Now, when I went fishing, I just sea trout. Yeah, sea trout is so delicious, delicious fish, and a good fighting fish, by the way. But during this time, I learned I was pretty good at catching bluefish. There's a fish in my area. I don't know if you have bluefish down there, Anton, but we have a lot of bluefish, and we have these fish called menhaden, otherwise known as moss bunkers or just bunkers. And the bunkers are herded in enormous quantities and chased out of the water by the marauding bluefish. And bluefish have big, sharp teeth. I was able to quite successfully catch a string of bluefish, but I never caught a striped bass. And I set out in my mind to catch a striped bass in the Long Island Sound. And it was not easy for me. It was just I talked to everybody I could about it. And this is how I learned about manifestation. I dreamt about it. I tried different lures, I tried different bait. And then one night, I even remember the lure I used. I was using a redfin. A redfin is a type of, like, it's a minnow. It's like a fake minnow. I don't know if they still make redfins anymore. But I was fishing at night off the docks at my beach club, and I remember behind me there was a prom going on. So this was almost a magical moment in my life. And I was using a redfin, and I was reeling it in really slowly. At night, it really wobbles good on the surface. This was a surface lure. And I actually hooked up, I caught a small striped bass. And it was like, because for months, I've been trying to catch a striped bass. Once I caught one striped bass, then I became very good at it. I became a real Sharpie. But it's that idea that of doing something that you've never done before that seems impossible. I mean, people were saying striped bass is very difficult to catch them. And there's this whole, it's like finding gold out here, gold and silver. I haven't found any gold and silver, but I know that once I do, I'll be like, oh, that's it. That's all. That's where it is. And it'll just be easy peasy. And that's how life, to me, that's how the manifestation process works. You decide you want something, you study it, you talk to people, you actualize it by making it part of your reality. And then it can't help but happen. Okay, so that's a very important thing for people to realize. Now, with that said, I'm going to take a slightly different tangent now, and I want to report that this morning I made a video with Quantum Bridge. If you haven't seen the videos from Quantum Bridge, it's Gary and Casbah. And Casbah has come to Arizona. He actually visited us. He didn't get to come up on the land, but he came to Arizona, and he called me and he said, could we meet? And we met, and we the three of us had a few slices of pizza together, and it's from England. Quantum Bridge is from England, and it's Gary and Casbah, and they are just, I mean, they are like my spiritual brothers. They watch my channel so much. I mean, Caspa told me details from things I'd said that I didn't even know. I mean, they know more about me than I. But they have such. They're so heroic. They're so heroic in that they're brought. I said to Caspa, I said, Caspa, I'm making all these videos. I'm not Joe Rogan. I mean, nobody really, I have a very small audience. And he said, and I've said this before, but he said, that's okay. But he says, when people are ready, all the videos will be there for them. So every time I meet with them, I'm just I just they're just so they're such warriors. Here are two highly sensitive, very intuitive people that are fighting for the essence, fighting for the survival of humanity. And they're like brave warriors, just like you guys, just like anybody who's listening to me. I mean, we have would have 34 people on the channel. Joe Rogan gets million. I'm just saying. I always used to say Joe Rogan, but it's like, is he saying anything more important than what we are delving into? I don't think so, because all the people that you hear, most of the people you hear, with the exception of a few, they're event based. They're like, okay, this is going to happen, or the XRP is going up, or the EBS is coming. I mean, these kinds of like time-based, event-based, people-based things, which are absolutely transitory and meaningless to me. What I want to talk about before I get into a few other things, and I didn't see anything on the news that really, or on the thought stream that really, except for one or two posts, which I'll share in a while. But I wanted to discuss something. I don't know where this came from. Oh, I know where it came from. I know where it came from, because I was lecturing my buddy Lawrence this morning about vaping. Now, this is how God talks to us. This is how you say, I just want to talk to God. It's like, I just want to not talk to God, because I understand that everything I hear or see or say or react to or don't react to is an aspect of divine providence. So the divine providence here is that I was lecturing poor Lawrence, who's trapped here with Daniela and I, and can't escape my wrath and my vigor. But I was telling him, because I'm an addict and because I went through AA for years, and I went through this drug and that drug, and the hardest drug that I ever had to quit was nicotine. Sea trout is amazing. Nicotine. I'll tell you a story about sea trout in a bit. But so I said, it's not the vaping that's dangerous. It's the fact that and I said this with Caspa, and that's how things come to me. They just come like in a bolt, and then for the day, that's my theme. So I said, it's not, and I've said this on the channel before, as an addict, as somebody, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I don't drink, but I as somebody who did drink, the danger is not in the drinking itself. There is danger in that, of course, as well. But the danger to me, and this is what I'm about to present, is a complex, a crystalline idea that has many faces. I'm gonna try to share this idea with you. And okay, so the danger is that you're thinking about it all the time. You're thinking about, well, when am I going to vape out? For me, it used to be, I would grow my own tobacco, and I grew my own pot. So I would mix them together, and it was like, when am I going to get this blast? And when the way I smoked in those days in a pipe, I would almost black out every time I smoked. So it was really over the top. It was not normal. But here's the thing, and this is what I want to discuss with you guys in particular, and not with the millions of Rogan family followers, because they wouldn't get this. They would, and they don't need to hear this. But what I'm about to say is this, and I'm gonna try to express this in different ways till you guys are sick of the idea. The idea is like this: you, and you've heard this from other people, but you were sent here to liberate. You are part of the liberation army. You are the star seeds. They call them star seeds. Now, do I really know that you're star seeds? Do I really know what a star seed even is? No, but it fits. Star seeds, you're the light workers. You are the bringers of the new awakening. You came here to do this. In my mind, the last 25 years where I was in the Hasidic community, where drinking is totally okay. It's part of the rituals, kind of, to have a little schnapps, to have a little mashka, a little vodka, and then sing with your friends and tell stories. But the idea is like this, that if you are like me, and you probably are if you're here and you're one of the 36 people. I mean, it's not, and we're not breaking records here. We're not going viral. It doesn't seem like you, but it's okay, because if I reach one person tonight that understands what I'm talking about, that will be a huge thing. And I think Caspa and Gary understood what I was saying. In my last 25, in the 25 years that I was a Hasidic Jew in Brooklyn, New York, I drank. Well, actually, for 20 years, I drank, and because it was, everybody drank. And then one Shabbos. Okay, so I'm going to tell. This is a story that it's kind of a complex thing that I'm about to express. So I'm going to tell it in different ways. But one Shabbos, and I think I said this on Caspa and Gary's show. One Shabbos, I was lying on the couch in a state of bliss after drinking, I'm sure, too much of whatever it was that I was drinking. And again, about clouding your thought. I'm thinking on Wednesday, what kind of IPA am I going to drink? How many do I need to buy? Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, I'm thinking about this all week. And that's the problem. Well, no, let me say it like this. It's both the problem and the solution. So what do I mean by that? Could it be first wave, 144,000 chosen, baby? Yeah, that's really where I'm getting to. We are the first wave. So it is possible. It is quite possible. And I'm just going from my own personal story. They say as below above, as above below. I have to I educate myself through my own experiences. So it could be that for the first 20 years of me living in Brooklyn in the community, that the force knew that I couldn't handle the truth. I couldn't handle finding out who I really was. And therefore, to protect me, I was drinking. I was having a great time. I hated my job. It was terrifying to go to work, but I had great time with the kids. I made up for it. But the idea was that I came home, and then Friday night I would have a drink or two or three or four, and everything would it was like, okay, man, I can handle going back to work again, because I know next Friday I'll get to drink. You're about the drinking and drugging. It's not the act of doing. It's the whole mentality of where to get it. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. But listen to this, Matt. Listen to this idea. It could be that you and I, or whoever is listening now, that the force was protecting us because we had a big job to do. So for 20 years, the force said to me, just go live in the Hasidic community, man, and raise a family, learn Torah and hang out in the community and try to fit in, try to learn a little bit and try to be a holy dude and all this stuff. And you could drink, okay, man, you drink. And that was a way to protect me from fulfilling my real mission and being exposed to my real desires in life, which is to save the world. I'm sure you're all exactly like me. We all just want to save the world. None of us, probably very few of us, are like, well, I would just want to make a lot of money and buy a Lamborghini. There are no people on my channel like that. I doubt there's one. Maybe Daniela wants to own, what's that name of that car again? The General Lee. She wants a General Lee with a Confederate flag on it. Okay, so maybe there are exceptions to this, but the point is that we are like pure angels in a way. I mean, myself maybe not, but we are angels. We are pure angels, and it could be that the universe, that the force protects us all by giving us habits to get us through the bullshit, and then at some point, and that point is, in my opinion, is now. Hashem, the force, the divine says to you, okay, man, listen, I let you drink for 20 years. This is what happened to me. So I was on the couch, man, and I heard a knock on the door. Yeah, who is it? It was my old friend, Yeshaya. If you know Yeshaya is one of those people that when you meet Yeshaya, you'll never forget him. He's completely off the wall in the most delightful way possible. He will say, he's kind of like me. He's like me, but he'll say anything. He'll do anything. He'll start singing in the middle of a sentence. But Yeshaya knocked on my door. I hadn't seen Yeshaya in a while. I didn't expect him to knock on the door. I was passed out on the couch in a state of bliss. And he said to me, he looked at me, he says, "You're drinking." I said, "Yeah, of course I'm drinking." He said, "Ellie, you're an alcoholic." Because he knew me from a long time ago. He knew me when I was sober 30 years ago. So he says, "You're drinking." I'm like, "Yeah." And it suddenly flashed on me, my God, this was God knocking at the door, telling me, "What are you doing?" It's like telling me, okay, now it's time. You can't hide yourself. You can't medicate yourself through the situation anymore. It is time to become you. And that's what I think is happening right now. That if you are smoking, if you are drinking, if you are medicating yourself in some weird way, eating is a great way to medicate yourself. Like now that I'm into intermittent fasting, I can go without for a while. I can say, okay, I'm not ready to eat yet. I'm still working, and I don't feel like eating just yet. I'm able to not eat, but not a lot. I wasn't always able to do that. So this is the time when we have to, in my opinion, it seems like listen, I just have a glass of wine at night. It's no biggie. A lot of people, oh, I smoke before bed. It's not, I smoke a little pot before bed, so I sleep. That's, in my opinion, it's time to stop that. Because why were you smoking all these years? Because God was protecting you from realizing who you really are. Dixie style, yeah. Now you're talking. Anton likes your car, man. Anton, you got to come up here too. By the way, there's no fishing, there's no water, period, but except for the well. But anyway, so we are reaching that point. So this was, I don't know, like I think 5 or 6 years ago. Peggy knows how long I've been sober, but because we stopped drinking at the same time. But since I stopped drinking, I started making videos. I got kicked out of my job, and it was a great thing. I lost my YouTube channel. I all these things happened, but I was protecting myself, and maybe the force was protecting all of us for this time when we need to go full strength. Now is the time when we need to. Why do we need to go full strength now? Because until I release these demonic forces from my existence, I was always searching for God. Everything is, I just want to make contact with God. When I when I released these habits from my life, now I just, like I said, I just want to not talk to God, because I understand that everything I see, everything I hear, every bird I see, every flap of wind, everything is a direct communication with the divine. But now is the time when we, meaning you and I and the star, so-called star seeds, whatever that means really, and the light workers. Now is the time when the 144,000 maybe need to be non-medicated and need to go full strength. I think there's a word, a full something. So full, this is the time. My longest fat was 27 hours fast, right? I couldn't make it past, yeah, right. Mushrooms, yum, and good for you. Yeah. So, right. I mean, right. You can indulge in all these things. You can, like, for me, mushrooms, for many years, I did them. I used them as therapeutic processing to deal with my demons. But at some point, we as star seeds need to stop medicating ourselves, stop distracting ourselves, and become fully aligned with the divine force. And until, in my opinion, or for me personally, until I was able to stop drinking, I was not able to really contact and really go full power. I didn't want to face myself full power. I didn't want to. I've always known that I've had some kind of a power. I've always known that I've had this strength, but I just I don't. We're all humble, and we don't want to, like, we don't want to stand out. But now is the time when most of humanity has been destroyed, when we must rise up and take whatever layers of filtration between us and the divine creation. We need to remove those layers now so that we can save humanity and save the world. One other like little side footnote I want to make to this is the idea, and this comes from a book called Tanya, which is a mystic book written by Shneur Zalman of Liadi, the first Lubavitcher Rebbe, who I think it was the Alter Rebbe who had a personal experience with Napoleon, who was obviously satanic. He also had, I think he had experience with the Rothschilds. I mean, this is a heavy duty mystic figure, but he wrote this book called Tanya, in which he says, if you want to break a habit, and eating is a habit. For me, it was. Now that I'm able to fast for a little bit, it's not such a, like, I got to. I'm awake. I have to eat. It's very good to have a morning without eating, because then it's not like, well, I have to eat now. It's just like, okay, now I'm going to eat. I choose to eat. But Shneur Zalman of Liadi, the first Lubavitcher Rebbe, says that if you are having problems with a habit, if you're having problems even with your own ego, that the way to deal with it, and I didn't really understand this at the time, or I didn't want to understand it, is in small incremental bits. So if you, let's say, you want to stop being such a fresser, you want to stop being such an eater, that the way to do that is to postpone your eating by 5 minutes. Say, okay, I really want to eat now, but I'm going to wait 5 minutes to eat, just to sort of, just so that the eating doesn't control me and I control it. Just like how I think about what IPA I'm gonna be drinking all week, and that becomes a cloud in my mind that separates me from divine intuition. direct contact with divinity. So how do you approach such an issue? How do you stop being a complete addict to food? Let's say food can be as addictive as anything else. It's like, I'm dreaming of my piece of keto lemon chiffon cake or whatever it is, and that becomes that clouds my ability to commune directly with God. Yeah, the view. Yeah, it really is nice. And it's going to be even nicer when you see my studio. My studio is just it's really nice. We just put it. But yes, but this came. Listen, to manifest this situation. This has taken me years and years of work, starting 5 or 6 or whatever, how many years ago, with the knock on the door when I was laying on the couch, a little bit, quite tipsy, quite inebriated. And my friend Yeshaya says, "Ellie, what are you doing? You're an alcoholic. You're drunk." And I was like, "Oh, conveniently forgot that I was an alcoholic." I was like, "Well, I'm a spiritual guy now. I'm a Hasidic Jew, and I study Torah, and I wake up at the crack of dawn, and I go to classes, and I'm a holy dude. I daven with a minyan. I daven with a lot of people. Okay, yeah, maybe I drink a little. Okay, but it's no problem now because it's a spiritual thing." No, Yeshaya was sent, that and since Yeshaya, everything that happens in my life now, I see everything is divine, is a divine message, and that's what the Baal Shem Tov said. The Baal Shem Tov, that means the man of good name, the master of the good name. He said that you see a leaf go like this to this, it's not an accident. It's a direct communication from the divine to you. And once you wake up and once you get rid of all these clouds and all the fog in your head, you will understand that everything you see, hear, drink, taste, everything is a communication, a personal communication to you from the divine. So I think it's time that we realize who we really are. And the last person to realize who you really are is you. We don't understand. We have this kind of feeling like I'm a little different, but we don't really understand. And I'm not saying that I do understand, like, oh, I'm a starseed from the Pleiades or whatever it is. I don't know that. But I know that there's something different about us, and there's something that you and I need to do and need to do to help the situation, that we were somehow sent here through many layers of forgetfulness to accomplish the saving of humanity. So it's just something to think about. It's just something that I thought. Lots of coffee. Yeah, I drink lots of coffee. I don't deny it. Yeah. Could I have a little more, by the way? Now I'm thinking about it. Oh, just the cold brew. No, I don't need tea. Just the stuff from the refrigerator. Just like quarter of a cup. Thanks, baby.
So you're not drinking tea.
And I'm also drinking water.
How about just a
Well, in AA, we all meet
here
by.
you can have the whole thing.
Oh, thank you. We all meet by the
Not
coffee
gonna
pot.
keep you nothing there.
Okay. We all meet by the coffee pot. I'm sorry, Lawrence. It's just this is my favorite stash of. You're welcome to. You're welcome to it. I don't mean to. But anyway, so yeah, man. I mean, you are you are hidden most completely from yourself, full throttle. We need to go full throttle now. We need to go into fifth gear and overdrive and take this thing home, because all these people that have, quote, awakened And what does that mean? It means that they're looking at Joe, Billy Bob, and Sydney Freakazoid on their channel, and thinking about well, it's really the Democrats, it's really the Nazis, it's really this. So here's the answer. And we talked about last night. We read that thing together about how you can always find another layer of darkness on top of every layer, but at the end of the day it really is up to us to liberate ourselves, and to and to go full throttle and save humanity. So with that said, let me go to a post that I think is of value here. And this is kind of like, could be where what needs to be this is just a really a very sane way of saying what I say in my own way. So let me just get to this. All right, I think this is quite interesting.
To find out even more nefarious things about why, to this day, people are not reasoning the way they used to before 2020. You suddenly had a bizarre situation of really mass hypnosis in which about a third of the population was reasoning normally, and 2/3 of the population could no longer reason. The mass credulity just doesn't make sense. These are intelligent, thoughtful people who are educated exactly the way I'm educated, and were no longer able to reason. And many people have talked about personality changes, in their loved ones that could have to do with a damage to the prefrontal cortex, but may have to do with a confluence of other factors that, some of which we don't even know or understand. I'm scared for the future, because if we don't figure out what made everyone dumb and unable to reason, many people to this very day were very susceptible to whatever the channel will be changed to in the future.
Yeah, I think she puts it in a really nice way, that this is like a mass hypnosis, that most of humanity is still not able to reason correctly. Uh, um, uh, there's a note. Lawrence just stepped out. I'll tell him in a second, Nancy, but we must hold on to our full throttle. We must go into overdrive, in my opinion, and contact the divine within you, within us, in full out, without I just have a little puff of pot before I go to bed. It's not that big a deal. It is a big deal. It is a choice. And I'm not saying I'm not anti-pot. I've smoked plenty of pot in my life. I've done lots of mushrooms and all kinds of other drugs. But there comes a point where life is you just got a huge compliment, Lawrence. Nancy Page says, Lawrence, thank you for your service. I assume she's talking about keeping me slightly sane. Thank you for helping us, and that sort of thing. I don't know if he's really had an effect on my sanity. That seems to be a big question still. But however, yeah, it's just hello from Texas. Make a pot of Starbucks coffee earlier today, not up to your standards, but gave me my caffeine fix. Yeah, I know Starbucks has a lot of chemicals in it. Danielle is just like, oh no, she would never. I mean, if I was like, I have to sleep. We have to drive another 5 hours, and all there was a Starbucks. She would make me pull over and go to sleep. That's how serious she is about not drinking, because it's not just anyway. I don't know if I got attention. If you enjoyed it, but even the paper cups are dangerous. And they put all kinds of chemicals into it, but that's anyway, that's just another thing. So we have to hold on to our sanity. We have to hold on to our DNA. We have to insist. We have to fight to have like a good healthy habits, to I mean, the life wave. I'm just going to go for off on a tangent for a moment about the life wave product. I'm going to do it from. Let's see if I can find the one I wanted, which is yeah. If you want to sign up under Daniela, you could. But we had a meeting with Dr. Stacy today, and I told her, I said, this stuff is like, it's not like taking a drug where you say, oh, this happened to me. But over time, the effect of these patches is quite large. And apparently, even under the FDA, we are now allowed to say that X39 with the Sellergize morning formula produces stem cells in your body. That's how powerful this particular technology is. So X39, this is not my X39. This is another patch. I have X39 below my belly button. That's usually where I like to put it. But X39 and the other patches have cured I no longer need to nap. I can stand on one leg. I no longer have any back pain. I was really tortured by back pain in the last couple of years. And then one day I just realized, wow, because we don't realize when we're healthy. We don't think, wow, I feel so good. We only notice our health when something is wrong. But when something goes well, it's just like, I don't know, it's just natural. Then I thought, well, no, it has to do with the patches. These patches are amazing. So I just, I realized, I told you guys recently, I'm no longer having any back pain. And miracle of miracle, I know that this is kind of grub to say, but I don't have to piss anymore. I don't have to piss all the time. This is huge. I mean, out here it doesn't really matter because it's not like, well, where's the bathroom? It's just like you're standing on it. No matter where you are, you can go to the bathroom, but in that way. But these patches have made it so I'm sleeping through the night. It's just, they're amazing. And then now the X2O machine, which they're saying it has a tremendous effect on people with the Sellergize too. Using the Sellergize in the X2O water is apparently just like amazing. So we're looking forward. We will be receiving our X2O machine sometime this week, but
tomorrow, but we can't pick it up
tomorrow. But we are going. Danielle and I have to go through a how would you explain it? A trip. We have to do some stuff, so we may not be able to put it into action right away, but we will soon. So if you're interested in these patches, if you're interested in good health, we totally believe in eating red meat. We eat a lot of butter. We do not use any seed oils. We no longer even cook with olive oil. We only use organic, cold pressed, or whatever it is, olive oil on occasion, very occasionally, but we use mostly butter and tallow in our food. I still eat fruit and vegetables. Daniela not so much, but we're in good health. I'm 71, and I'm building a house in the middle of the desert, and I have lots of energy. Have I napped into your knowledge? No, he's vaping now, man. Okay, I caught you vaping again. That was the whole, but this is how God expresses, this is how the divine flow of information goes through us. So let me go to another post that I think will be of interest to us as a community. The numbers are really low tonight. I mean, I'm down to like 69. Why? Because I'm not talking about stupid politics. I'm not talking about like even the right-wing news, what Trump said and all this. It's bullshit. It's a show. It's a movie. And if you're focused on that, then you're focused on that. But I am speaking to a handful of people. This is a small community of diehard truthers, but real truthers. And my hat's off to you. You guys are brave. I think that the divine has had to, what I was saying in this whole tirade was that the divine sort of had to keep us a little bit hidden even from ourselves in order to get us to this point where the world now really desperately needs you. Yeah. I'm going to be impossible, guys. I had way too much coffee. Don't get nervous. Don't get nervous. It'll be okay. All right. Anyway, so that let me now go to another post that I think will interest you. Let me go. Let's set it up first. But that was Naomi Wolf. I thought that was an amazing thing. What's this? Interesting. Okay, so I want to go to, this is kind of, all right, let's play this. This looks really good. Okay, it says, eyes in the skies, some of all fears. Okay, let's look at this together.
We are the first species on the face of this earth to be aware of evolution.
This was the year that I think the AI got smarter than us.
This moon is not a moon, okay? It's not your moon in the first place. Actually, this is not your planet. This is their laboratory. Okay.
Right. Okay, the Dracos, you mean, or the reptilians?
Draco reptilians.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a longer discussion.
Dagger 1, we need some assistance.
Oh, a bear cave.
We have the Viper team on ground and some heavies reaching them.
On my way.
Bear cave, Raptor 1 is ready to go.
Copy, Raptor 1.
Bear cave. It's Viper 1. Where the fuck is my backup?
Sir, we have an issue. This sergeant and his team's about to hit our facility. I already sent one of our team to deal with, but the reptilians sent one of their own with the team, as it's very delicate what we have there. And they don't want the Galactic Federation realize it's from them.
Calm down, son. I handle the general.
Understand, but they really want to get rid of with this sergeant. But the problem is he is only reports to the general of the armies. And if it's get out, or if he managed to get back to the general, it will reveal the deal with the reptilians, the UAPs we shot down, and the fact that we built the portal.
I think that celestial beings who fly around, who do weird things to people, I think that the desire to describe everything celestial, everything as otherworldly, to describe it as aliens, I mean, every great world religion, including Christianity, the one that I believe in, has understood that there are weird things out there, and there are things that are very difficult to explain. And I naturally go, when I hear about sort of extra natural phenomenon, that's where I go to, is the Christian understanding that, you know, there's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there. And I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people he never existed.
Dagger 1, new coordinates for priority mission. I repeat, New coordinates for priority target.
Copy that, Barricade. I'm on my way.
Okay, so that was a little bit of a non sequitur, perhaps, at the very least. And but there is what are you talking about? Is why I'm here. Yeah. Okay, that's from Sandra Cadwallader. No, what you're not talking about is why I'm here. Right. Yeah. Okay. I think you understand. You are not missing anything by not following the news. I feel like we've been stuck in the same news cycle for weeks now. Every day it's the same story with Iran, elections, fraud, over and over. Yeah, I agree, Matt. I think this is the time to work on our own awakening process, and that's why I was. It seemed to me a startling, serendipitous kind of event that I would be focusing on, bad habits preventing us from full connection to the other things. I don't know why I just played that, but let me I'm going to take this off for a minute. I encourage you to use this LifeWay products, and we're very happy that to those of us, and we're thankful that you have done that. It is allowing us to move forward on our mission. That we are kind of mission oriented. Dennis Quaid, Enemy Mine, Truth in Science Fiction. Did you write that? Can you write that down, baby? Dennis Quaid, Enemy Mine, MINE, Enemy Mine. Sounds like a good movie. Yeah, we love those kind of movies. We're now watching conspiracy conspiracy theory again. It's that Lawrence wanted to watch it also. Call it something mine. It's called Enemy Mine. Now, here's the thing. Okay, so here's the thing. The idea of being of you not knowing who you really are, and that the universe taking care of you and keeping you from your full strength by medicating you with various things is not necessarily a weakness, but it could be that now is the time when 2/3 of humanity or more have been basically neutralized, that we need to be full throttle, as you guys say. That's how, yes. So we need to be full throttle right now. And yeah, the news is whatever. But we are soldiers who have been embedded into bodies with high sensitivities, like Gary and Caspa, that you could just tell these people are empaths beyond understanding. They are so sensitive to the vibrations around them, and we have been sent here. I don't know what the story is. Are we sent here from this or that? It doesn't matter. We are undercover. We are warriors. We are maybe the 144 star seeds or light workers or whatever you want to, however you want to think about it. It doesn't matter. But we must come to an understanding of our own power by getting rid of whatever is in between us and the divine and experiencing full throttle in order to save humanity. The war is not over yet. That's what's, all these podcasters are like, the EBS is coming next week. The dinar, you got Mark Z saying for 5 years the dinar is about to be revalued, and it's like, that's great for getting your channel to explode. My channel is going the other way because I don't care. I don't care. I'm not here to because I want to have zillions of followers. I'm here because I want to pursue the truth with other people who are interested in figuring out what we're doing here. But I think we're all, in a sense, and I'm dealing with this with Lawrence too. Lawrence also feels like that he is going through this adventure where he has been kind of undercover, and I think we're all undercover, and we're so undercover that we don't even know who we are. We don't have a full understanding of our own power, and we're easily we're easily medicated and easily distracted because we're probably, if you're listening, you're an empath, and the full awareness of what's going down right now could be very frightening to somebody who's not ready to face the truth. So okay, so let me get to this other photo, which is a little more I think a little more benign, let's say, but interesting. And that is where's that post? That post was right at the beginning. The end is near, right? All these things. I mean, they may be titillating, and but the truth is that we need to just be connected to our source. But let me see if I can find this one thing that I was looking for. The Jews and Templars. Yeah, this is the post I was looking for. Okay, so let's stop sharing. Let's go back, and then I'm going to key this up. Okay, so here we go. This is an interesting analysis, conspiracy theory starring Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts. Yeah, it's really a fun film. I'm really enjoying it. I'm asking the guys to go back. I want to watch the scene where we go into his apartment. He's got all his coffee jugs in like lockdown mode. It's I'm an empath for sure. Yeah, if you're on this channel, you're an empath. You're a star seed. What we don't. It doesn't even matter what you're called, but you have an aspect of yourself that has been undercover for years, and you've always been the odd man out. You've always been the truth seeker. You've always. When I was a little boy, I used to squint my eyes. I used to hold my eyes together because I wanted to see things in a different way. We've always been like that. And we talked about auras the other day and how we can all see auras if we want to. It's our birthright. We're all telepathic if we want to go and really enjoy that. We all experience tremendous if you're at least half awake. When you go out into the world, you understand that a glance can be, there's a gland in your body that they've denied. We talked about that with Gary and Caspa. It's down in your abdomen. But Gurdjieff talks about how the different centers of your body can process things at different rates. So when the thinking mind, let's say, goes at 1x, whereas your instinctual mind, your in your belly, let's say, can operate at 50,000 times faster than this thought. And we're coming to understand all these awarenesses and talents and ways of looking at things that have been kept from us by these creepazoid, that's just nonsense. You can't do that. All this, and you guys have been hearing this for years. You're all empaths. You'll all have these powers. We do have issues because we are so sensitive. We can't help but have issues. We just heard something drop out here. If you hear anything, it's cause for you take notice, whereas in the city you hear my son calls me and I'm hearing ambulances and sirens and motors, and he's having conversations with 5 different people up here. And I encourage anyone who really wants to reach out and take part in developing this community to reach out to Daniela at on her Instagram or on her, let's see, where's her contact information. You can also email her. Yeah, here's more of Daniela's contact information. But reach out to her and say, I need to be part of your community. I want to get out of the matrix. I don't have a lot of resources, or I do have a lot of resources. I've been stacking silver and I want to come up and take part of the community. You may want to buy some land around us on your own. You may want to be part of the community, but not directly on the land with us. You may want to be a person who wants to learn how to build, and you'll come and you'll help us build houses or whatever. But if you are interested in joining our little community, we are looking for folks to join us here, and you can reach out to Daniela. Okay, so now I'm going to go to this post that I think you'll find interesting, especially people of my age group, because we are kind of an in-between. I think I spoke about this last night, but I don't remember reading this post. But this is a really fun post, in my opinion. Let's see if I can go here. Okay, I can still do some things on here and go here. Okay, there is a generation a lot of people forget exists. We were born at the tail end of the boomers, right? I was born in 1955. So my cousins were a couple years older than me. They all went to, they went through the hippie thing, but I did too, but in a completely different way, and probably in a much fuller way, because I wasn't attached to the 50s. I had no connection. I didn't have a strong connection to the war, the boomers. Anyway, we were born at the tail end of the boomers. We are not culturally the same as people born in the 40s and early 50s. We are Generation Jones. I didn't read this yesterday, did I? No. Okay. And honestly, it explains a lot. This is fascinating. We grew up in a world that still felt fundamentally analog, but we were young enough to be dragged headfirst into the digital revolution. We were on the bridge generation between rotary phones and smartphones, between slide rules and AI. Remember my father showing me how to use the slide rule? Between Walter Cronkite and algorithm-driven media. We witnessed amazing things, right? Like the modern farmer on TV when we were 3 years old. We'd get up to watch the test patterns on the TV, and we had 3 channels. We remember when there were only a few television channels and the entire country watched the same thing at the same time. We also adapted to the internet, email, forums, social media, streaming, and now artificial intelligence. We live before and after the technological singularity hit everyday life. This is not a small thing. People born in the 40s came of age in a post-World War II America that was still industrial, deeply hierarchical, and, excuse my pronunciation, and institutionally stable. The formative years were shaped by the Cold War, Vietnam, civil rights era, and a society where information moved slowly. Generation Jones came later. We inherited the aftermath of all of that. We were the kids who watched Watergate destroy blind trust in government. We watched manufacturing begin to collapse. We saw divorce rates explode. When I was a boy, there was like somebody in my class whose parents were divorced. It was just like, his parents got divorced. It was just unheard of. We were the first truly latchkey generation in massive numbers. We learned independence early because many of us had to. We grew up with one foot in old America and one foot in whatever the new thing was becoming. We played outside. This is when we were kids. We played outside until the streetlights came on, but we also learned DOS commands, right? We also learned to use computers. I remember the IBM computer. It's like, wow, this is such a modern thing. It was like owning an IBM electric, I forget what it was called, but it was like, wow, man. I'm in 2001 a Space Odyssey kind of thing. So we had card catalogs and Google searches. We went from vinyl records to cassette tapes to CDs to MP3s to streaming in one lifetime. We remember maps. We remember memorizing phone numbers. We remember life before GPS and before every human interaction became filtered through a screen. And because of that, I think Generation Jones developed a very unique perspective. We are adaptable because we had no choice but to adapt. We learned technology as adults instead of being born into it. We remember a slower world, but were forced to survive in a rapidly accelerating one. This creates a very different mindset from either older boomers or younger Gen X and millennials. A lot of us also reject the caricature people now associate with boomers. We were not buying houses for the cost of a sandwich in 1965. My parents did. They built a house in Scarsdale for 65, I think it was 65,000. Which is, now would be $1 million. The house, I'm sure, would sell for $1 million. The interest rate on my first house was over 14%, right? And that was after buying down a point. Many of us got hit by recessions, outsourcing, pension collapses, and economic instability, not to mention the vax holocaust. Just like younger generations did, we watched promises evaporate in real time. We understand older generations because we were raised by them. We totally get it, right? I mean, I still, I love my mom. We understand younger generations because we had to evolve alongside them. That's why the Jones generation often feels culturally homeless. We were rarely discussed, rarely defined, and usually lumped into categories that didn't actually fit us, but we exist. We are the human transition point between the industrial age and the digital age. And frankly, there will probably never be another generation quite like us again. And this was us, man. Back in the day in high school, we were hanging out, man. We didn't have the same nightmares that parents have now. I mean, we didn't come home at I certainly didn't come home during the warmer months. Even during the cold months, I could be out till late. And my parents didn't worry. That was just what we did in those days. So I thought that was a very interesting and kind of charming way of looking at some of us, that we're not technically boomers, and we're not technically Gen X or anything else. But this is pretty cool. So it was actually about the discovery. Interesting. Watergate was actually about the discovery of child trafficking. Oh, well, I'm a Jones. Yeah, man. I never heard that term. Born in 1962. Yes, I remember all of that. They controlled our narrative completely. Yeah, it was a different, and I don't know if you remember, Anton, but I remember when the Beatles came in, it was absolute. Everybody knew it. Everybody was talking about it. We did everything as a collective. We were all herded into one. Before you had 3 channels on TV. So we all watched the same show at night. When we came to school, we all talked about the Rowan and Martin laugh-in hour and the joke that Tommy Smothers might have made. It's just that there was a different feeling. But anyway, so now we are firmly in this particular broadcast under 100 viewers here, which is, I could care less. I don't care. This is what I do. So I'm not looking. I'm not competing with Joe Rogan. I don't need 1 million followers. I'm happy if I have 2 people here, and it helps them get through the day. And there are a lot of people who still tell me, and it turns me into a mush machine, that when somebody says like, wow, man, you really helped me get through this stuff. I was just like, wow, I was just doing my job, but it feels so good. It makes me cry, really, when people say that. But that's my payoff. It's like, and that's okay. It's okay. But the point is, I think that we have been kind of hidden from even ourselves, and that now we are coming into a time period where we have to go full throttle and totally wake up and help the rest of humanity. And it could be, for me, it's just evolving the community. And I forget who said it. I forget who told me, but they said that you have to do this to show people how to live again. I know there are a lot of other people who are living off grid and building their own houses and this kind of stuff, but we have a sort of a consciousness, a sort of awakened consciousness that that operates in many different levels and many different facets, so that so much to the point that if you have been addicted to certain substances, for me it meant that I was being protected from myself, and that the true power that I always had, and I always knew something was weird about me, but I never really could piece it together. It's just like, why did I wake up at 5 o'clock wanting to tell my boss how to solve all the problems in education, in public education? I was I was in the education field for a while as an educational researcher, but I was like a lowly peon. I was not, I didn't have a PhD. I wasn't, it wasn't big grant money or anything. Why, where was I saying, and when I would tell people, when in a meeting, they would actually let me talk and I would express to them what I think needs to be done in order to fix education, they all listened. They were all like, wow, he's not just a hippie nerd. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking, but they looked with like they noticed. So we've been hidden from ourselves, and now we are waking up full throttle. We must move forward and re-inhabit the republic. That's a big part of this, in my opinion. Let me say this. I wanted to say this. If you're having problems signing up, on the website, send an email to military outreach at Republic for the United States of America.org, and my friend Paul will reach out to you. If you're having a problem on signing up on republicforamerica.org, take a screenshot and send it to my friend Paul. Paul will get back to you. He got back to us. We have the form to present a humanitarian project, which is lovely. I'm going to do the humanitarian project whether I get approval and money or not. That's just what I'm going to do. I'm creating a community here. I want to help. I want to be both. I want to have people that are very productive and very energetic and really like to build and really like to do things and want to help us with the cooking and the cleaning and the building and the digging and all the things that go into living off grid. But at the same time, I want to reach out to people that are standing on the highway asking for money so that they can rise up and become themselves like we've had the opportunity to do, and they can go full throttle and they can realize their own power and not feel like victims of this gigantic rat maze of a world. So anyway, so that's I think that's pretty much all I need to say. I will say that we will be broadcasting. Good evening, Patriots. I didn't get notified of the live. Yeah, I'm always being shadow banned, but it's okay, man. I mean, I'm sorry that you didn't get notified. My sorority sister Cynthia does both. Palmer, also a retired teacher, suggested getting rid of the grade system. An excellent idea. I think they should get rid of the whole department of it. The whole educational system needs to be completely cleansed and rethought. People can learn, like my son. I sent him to yeshiva with the idea that it's not so much what he learns, it's that he learns how to learn. So my son has the ability to learn anything he wants to learn. He's not intimidated by, now he has to go to college to learn math. He never took a math course in his life. But he's not intimidated because he knows how to learn. And that's really what we need to share, because all the information, they were always after me to teach a skill. What skill are you teaching? It's like any skill you want to learn, you can learn on YouTube. You don't need to go to a school and stand in line and whatever. have your, you know, have your whatever. It's just, it's a beautiful world. We're coming into a real world of freedom. And my friend was a hippie in the 60s, a very great man. My mentor, coming out from one of my oldest Gen X's. Yeah, my friend was a hippie. Yeah, I mean, I had many gurus, many teachers in my life. I was lucky to have not as many, you know, looking back, I wish I had had somebody in my original community that I grew up in. I didn't have that. I didn't have a connection to anyone like that. I had to travel outside of my community to find people that could help me understand what was going on. So let's do the tune, and yeah.
Living in the city, I was paying down my bills. One flat tire and the whole thing went to hell. Credit cards for groceries, I'm deep in debt again. It's time to split this scene, walk with you, my friend. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the matrix, we're heading for the promised land. Stopped paying taxes, your insurance I don't need. The medicines are killing us, hospitals grow like weeds. Moved into paradise, I don't need no gassy cars. Fake news, endless wars, a satanic legal bar. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. My friends all tell me I lost control. Left my wife and job just to run down rabbit holes. But I can tell you one thing about my fall. Where we go one, we go all. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. Leaving the matrix, we're heading for the promised land.
Yeah, thanks, Sharon, the Party Queen, for saying one of my best shows. I don't know, I don't know, but I will say this. I was thinking about this, Anton. I was thinking about Anton and all these other comments here that I feel like I'm in high school again. I mean, in a good way, but without all the insecurities and all that stuff. It's just like I get to party. I got Lawrence here. I got my girl Daniela, and we're doing stuff and we're building together. And it's just like in the old days. Like my house, my parents were very. I don't know. Like my parents were both old and new. My father was 10 years older than my mother, and my mother was an artist. My father was an artist, but also a dentist and a gardener, whatever. But they were like very tolerant of my eccentricities, and I always had a collection of people in my house. I'm the kind of person, I don't like to go to somebody else's house. I never feel comfortable. I like to be home. That's why I'm creating this community around, that this is where I live. Lawrence asked me today, because we might have to travel. He said, do you like to travel? And I'm like, I love to be home, period. I never want to go anywhere. I'm just so happy here. I'm happy to have my little stuff, to have my socks, to know where my underwear is, this kind of stuff. I don't like to travel. I don't like to be, but I do it. I do it well, and I do it well. And I remind myself as I'm traveling, just take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. You'll get through this. And that's how, that's how I've learned to adapt, because I don't like to leave my turtle shell. Don't make me go out there. It was like when I was sent to nursery school, I cried for days. I was like, I'm not going. I don't want to do it. I don't want to leave home. My son, on the other hand, when he went to school, he was just like, okay, I'll see you later. He's a very independent kind of guy, but I'm not like that. Anyway, so we are experiencing a kind of revival here, I think, as a community. We are going full throttle. We are appreciating who we truly are, which is we are infiltrated foot soldiers of the divine inspiration, of the Republic, of creativity, of blessings and love and vibrational things. And I mean, we live in a world where seeds turn into plants. I mean, if you're a little flirtatious, it's not you're a sinner. You're just like, you're responding to the vibrational frequencies around you, and it doesn't have to lead. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be a knocked down, dragged out sexual encounter, but you feel these energies, and you feel, or it doesn't even have to. I'm just saying, like, there is an awareness, a growing awareness that we are a frequency, and that we're not just a body, and things are not. The way they laid out the world, that it's like only things you can observe are reality. Well, what about these creatures that we're seeing? What about I don't know, what about the gland that they denied? What about the food they've been trying to poison us with? What about these creepazoids that have taken all our resources and convinced us that we're really poor? We're not. Anyway, so we'll see you. Thank you. And I have to say, this is one of the lowest numbers of any show, and yet who cares? We're no longer subjected to, like, well, am I a successful podcaster or not? I'm a successful podcaster because I present information, in my opinion, that has some value, whereas 99% of the rest of them are just like recycling the same old bullshit over and over again and getting lots of hits because people are comfortable with mediocrity. We're not. We are the elite guard. So keep up the good work. Respect yourself, love yourself, appreciate the fact that you are the only one in the history of the universe who can be you. And that's a huge thing. You have an individual soul. It sounds like most of the creatures that are left, most of the humanoids on the planet, they're soulless right now. but you have that energy, you have that spark, you have the force. You are using the force. So use the force, Luke. You got this. And use source. Know that you are an intimate, you are a connection, not just a connection. I'm not the son of God. It's like, well, maybe you are. Maybe there is no, I don't know. I shouldn't have said that. But it's just like we're all divine, completely divine. There's no question about it. It's like, well, he's really a holy dude. I'm not. No. It's the opposite. The fact that you even question your holiness probably makes you more holy than the holiest of holy. That, whatever. Anyway, have a great night. I love you, but I want you to love you the way I love you. And let's get out there with a big smile on our face and